Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Gravity Daze walkthrough. This is the remastered variety, and we're on episode 10. It is entitled Curiosity Killed the Cat. So this is a pretty interesting tangent of a mission. We're going to be doing some mild exploring, and then our cat is about to get gimped. And it has a pretty adverse effect on what we're doing here, because it takes away your powers. You see, cat gets her abilities from the cat, of all things, or so it seems anyhow. This kind of galaxy within a feline is the reason that she can do all these fantastical things. And the game wants to keep your player on the toes, it wants to keep mixing it up. So for this particular mission, it decides to make him ill. And when he's ill, we have to do very basic platforming, very basic gravity manipulation, because we have the smallest amount of gravity possible. So you'll notice just doing simple free falling and simple dive kicks is enough to drain your entire bar, and it makes this a little bit more taxing than it needed to be. The good news is I get half my life taken off me by that big blobby whale thing, is it's still not too bad as long as you know what you're doing and you follow the paths I'm going to show you here, which you don't necessarily have to follow the paths, you know, completely identically, verbatim as it was, but it will help if you play the game intelligently, because you'll notice you do take decent damage when you don't upgrade your life. It's still nothing on the lines of some of the more crazy games you can play, but you can make the game a little bit more challenging should you want to, as I have a little issue here getting my gravity back. And this part right here on the soundtrack, if you've ever played Alundra for the PlayStation 1, that reminds me of when you're in the nightmares. There's a very plinky-plonky, like child xylophone-esque musical piece that they play to tell you that you've gone into people's dreams and it's indeed a nightmare. Which, if you've never played Alundra, that game is amazing. It's probably my favourite Zelda game, and if you've played it you'll understand why I say that, because it's just really, really good. It's a very dark, mature Zelda clone, basically. But it's a clone in the best possible way, because it does a lot of cool stuff that I really appreciated. And yeah, check it out. I think it's on PlayStation Network, so pick that up. You will not be disappointed. As I'm trying to grab this ledge and it's having none of it. Gravity, one of those interesting forces that we don't quite understand as well as we perhaps wish we did. Other than magnetism and all that kind of good stuff. Only if gravity just stopped, would everything just get super fucked up? That's something Neil deGrasse Tyson has probably been asked in one of his lectures, and he's probably answered it in a really great way. The sun just decides to shit the bed and everybody gets very cold and the universe ceases to be because gravity went on a 2-week bender and forgot to come back. But once again, folks, this is a rift, so you'll notice that you're being guided by those flowers. They emit that kind of slipstream of energy, and it's telling you where to go. And this is my least favourite rift just because the powers aren't there. I've mentioned previously in these videos that I think this game is really fun when you're using all the crazy gravity stuff. I think when they take it away from you, it really shows that this game lives and dies by its gravity mechanic, because without it, it is a very simple, if eclectic, action platformer. And there's a lot of people that that's just not enough for. There's a lot of people that this game won't be enough for to begin with, but if you remove the gravity, it definitely becomes a much more difficult sell. As we continue taking out the Nevi and moving towards the next special ability and the next boss. But this is a pretty long video, guys, so it enables me to talk about some other things. And if you're new to my channel, I am a very big advocate for tangents in my walkthroughs. I like to tell people what they need to know about certain strategies in the game, certain moments and certain difficulties to be expressed, and then I like to talk about other things to keep the video entertaining for the people who don't want me just stating the obvious all the time. It's kind of my particular cocktail of commentary, and it's the one that I enjoy. And at this moment in time, I'm waiting for Dark Souls 3. It's kind of like waiting for Godot. It's ridiculous. And I've not been having the best time with it, because I'm excited like a small child, and I'm a grown-ass man who didn't think he could get this excited anymore, but it is indeed having an effect on my life, which is pretty sad in the grand scheme of things, but it's wonderful to still be capable of such joy. So there's like a dichotomy inside me right now. There's a part that hates the fact I'm like a little child that can't sleep on Christmas Eve, but then there's the other part of me that thought I was a callous old man who would never see wonder again, who's like, this is great to know that I'm still capable of such a feeling. And the unupgraded attacks here really show, because these enemies are taking way more damage than they should. But you're going to be way stronger than me, guys, so you'll have no issue here. I just didn't collect the jewels for the purpose of the walkthrough, so I could make it really quick, and I suffered due to this. But I've got, I think, 3 more levels to record, and I really haven't had that much of a trouble outside of that one level that I hate, which we'll talk about when we get there. But it looks like you could probably follow the Anks. I keep calling them Anks, and that's wrong. Ankh is kind of that weird T with a hoop on the top, isn't it? That weird Egyptian symbol that you can get those super cheap knockoff necklaces from, like, carnivals. I keep meaning to say Ark, but I say Ankh for some reason. I don't know why. One of those weird brain moments. But it looks like you could follow the path of those to get across there quite effectively. It's just definitely the most dangerous choice in this, and I went the safe route, which I'm sure you'll not penalise me for that one, just because of how awkward it is moving without your abilities. But here's what's pissing me off, because things piss me off and I like to talk about them. On Xbox One, when games go live, they go live like 1 minute past midnight, and you can get them there and then. And I'm sure that this is the same with Dark Souls 3, but I didn't get it for that because I'm going to be buying it for that in English. Instead, I opted to get it for PlayStation 4. So I've got it on PlayStation 4, the Japanese one, and it comes out tomorrow. Or technically, the day after tomorrow. But it says, rather strangely, that it's coming out in 23 hours at this moment in time. And 23 hours from now is about 3 PM tomorrow, which is the 23rd, and the game's not due out until the 24th. So it made me think that it must be when in Japan, it must be the 24th at that point, because of course this is a Japanese timer that it's timing it off of. And there's a part of me that's super happy about that, and then super confused, because I don't know if on Xbox it would do the same thing. Because I've heard a lot of horror stories about PlayStation Network releasing things later than it should, and things like that. I have no experience from it myself, because I don't really purchase that many things on it. But on Xbox, I know reliably that it's generally 1 minute past 12, so I'm wondering if that time is 1 minute past in Japan, or if it's some kind of, you know, weird PSN thing. But I got really confused the other day, because I thought that I would be able to get the game a little bit later than that, and then it was a little bit earlier, and then I couldn't understand why it was earlier. And then when I get the impression I can get something earlier, I'm like, well, why can't I get it earlier? If I can get it this early, can I not get it even earlier? And I was doing some looking into it to see if there was any nefarious means. Like, I've already pre-downloaded it, and the first thing I tried to do is disconnect the internet and see if I could get in it when I wasn't online, like changing my clock and shit to see if that had any effect. It didn't, of course. They're smarter than me. They've already figured all this shit out, but I'm a trier, so I did it anyway. Just, you know, signing into other accounts without doing it the way that the console wants you to do it while it's loading and stuff to try and fuck it up. Because there used to be a lot of weird things on Xbox you could do with that. I was wondering if it carried over to something like a PS4, but none of those worked. Suffice to say, I've been impatient. Even though I'm getting the game earlier than I thought I was, which is even earlier than I thought I was to begin with, I'm still, I want it now. And I know I have a lot of things to fill the gap, but I'm having a lot of difficulty doing those things because all I want to do is play it. And it's this super weird perspective, which, as I mentioned, guys, I have not felt this for a long time, so it's really bizarre. And I'm one of those people nowadays, which I think is a much better place to be, where I don't really get that excited for games. I get excited in a, oh yeah, that looks cool, I can't wait to play it in the moment, and then I swiftly forget and get busy doing something else, and then the game comes out, I'm like, oh shit, this game's coming out, that's gonna be awesome. And then I play it, and then I get the excitement, then I get the obsession, and then, oh, I need to play this game, it's too good thing. And I think that's way better because I have the game at that point, so I don't have to do any of the, oh, I can't wait for this bullshit. And that's what I did with, like, Fallout 4, it's what I did with Metal Gear Solid, it's what I did for a lot of things. But I'm just incapable of doing it for Dark Souls 3 because A, I've played it, and I know it's going to be good, and B, there's something about the Souls games that still really appeal to the child inside of me, which is awesome. And it's also annoying as fuck when I'm trying to do commentaries for something like Gravity Daze, and all I want to do is sit and watch a timer ticking down, which is not going to tick down any faster when I'm watching it, but I feel like I need to. It's really strange. As we kill these Nevi on top of this space hopper, and be careful here because you're trying to do as many dive kicks as you can, and the moment you lose gravity powers, your attack gets cancelled and you lose all harmful intent. You just become some floating girl doing nothing, and it can definitely slow this down a bit. Keep on kicking, keep on pushing forward. This is all stuff you've done before, it's just in a different environment. But there's so much about this game that I'm so excited for, and there's so much stuff that's being talked about at the moment, and I'm currently hoarding all of it. I keep checking on Google every hour, you know, like new news, new information. I'm looking for some Japanese dude who's broken Street Date to be playing the game, and then I can pop it on at the side while I'm doing something else and just watch him do some stuff, kinda half eyeing it, and that way I can get my fix of Dark Souls 3 without really paying too much attention. And it's been really different this time to for instance, Dark Souls 2, because Dark Souls 2 came out in America way before it came out in my country, because America gets release dates on Tuesdays, we get them on Friday. It's just the way the retail releases work here. So I had about a day before I could do anything when it came to playing the game, because I managed to get it on the American PSN after I realised that I should have done that to begin with, which is what I've done this time, only with the Japanese one. So I had a bunch of time while people were playing it to be like, oh, I can't believe everyone's playing it and I'm not, this is pissing me off. So I was able to watch a ton of footage because, of course, there was 1,000,001 people posting a load of stuff. Most of it was GameSpot. Can you remember GameSpot when they were posting all that Dark Souls 2 footage? I don't know why they did that. I mean, I understand why they did it, but some of that footage was pretty goddamn awful. And if you check the comments, there wasn't many kind voices inside them. It was a lot of people being like, congratulations, you spammed a bunch of spells. Thanks for showing nothing about this boss. And as harsh as that is, it was kind of true if you saw those videos. They were just spamming spells and chugging Estus, that's all they did. It was a really poor showcasing of that game. And it's one of those things where there'll be people who saw that gameplay and like, I don't want to play this, it looks boring. It looks like a third-person shooter. Which is so far from the truth, it's not even funny. But this is a boss fight where I'm trying to dive kick things, I'm trying to be an acrobat, and it's not really paying off. Because these plants open up, and then the weak spot is there, and then they close. And one of the issues that you're going to have here is if you dive kick and you get too overzealous, there's the opportunity to miss it. And when you miss, of course, you go flying into the outer limits, and all kinds of crazy shit happens. But the boss is, in fact, all of these crazy Nevi here. It's not a specific target. Then once we kill these, the creature will open up that we can finish off, and then it's going to teleport us to the next mission, and then we're going to be fighting it on a lighthouse. Because I think these rifts all have parallels to the city, because you'll notice this is a giant lighthouse here, so it's kind of a precursor to what we're about to do. And that is actually a pretty tricky section too. It's one of the only few areas of the walkthrough where I died. And I died for reasons which I'm not a big fan of. The boss was really low life. I went in to do a dive kick because I was kind of spamming dive kick on it as it was about to open. I'd got my timing down, and as I came in, the projectiles it released essentially shotgunned me. Because the projectile starts very close together, it moves out, and then it kind of homes towards you in a scatter. But if you're close as I was, in the wrong place, the wrong time, instead of scattering, you take this big focused blast, and it just killed me instantly. Which, you know, I understood exactly what happened, and I can respect it in some ways, but I'd stood there a dozen times before waiting to do the dive kick, and nothing had touched me, so it was just one of those moments where you're like, wow, that was unfortunate. I thought I got a cool spot, a cool strat, and it turned out to be a death sentence if I waited long enough. But you'll also notice this is a creature that when you're close to it, doesn't seem to have any good tools to get you away. It has no wake-up game, so to speak. So when it does attack, it fires orbs away from itself, but they're generally too far away from you as well. And then they do have a little bit of tracking, but it's not enough for them to turn and do a U-turn and Sean Penn you. But just move around, killing them, taking them out, and then push towards this boss. You can use your abilities should you choose to, like I'm doing now. I don't think this one's the best choice. It does very pitiful damage, but it's good at shooting at a distance. This is me trying to dodge, and she's very sluggish at times. It's one of the things I would do if I could change this game. I would like the dodge to cancel regardless of what you're doing. I would love it when you're just floating, if you could dodge. I would love it if you were dive kicking, if the game would dodge. You know, there are certain features where the dodge just doesn't seem to come out, and there might be some kind of setup or delay or build up to it that I don't really know about, because I'm no high-level Gravity Daze player, because to me, I don't think there is all that much high-level play to be done in this game, outside of, you know, min-maxing your damage and knowing exactly how to control the flying around, which that is the move that this guy can hit you with. Did you notice how it started really like close together and it fireworked apart? It kind of starbursted. But the only reason this is even remotely tricky at this point, the only way this is even going to remotely vex you is because you do not have your gravity powers. If you had an upgraded gravity bar here, you would embarrass this creature. Like, look, do you see the damage then? Big damage. I ran out of gravity and I took a massive hit. So you need to be cognizant that these creatures, although seemingly easy and not the most challenging patterns, do have the capacity to kill you very quickly. Additionally, they do have minions, but the minions are so passive they're barely there. Oh, that's a dangerous moment. That's why I cancelled into the super there, because that looks really dangerous. But did you see the damage on the super? Or the special, sorry? That's what you want to be doing. Thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.